All right. According to all the bells and whistles and the doohickeys and the things that do all the magic, we are live and streaming. Hey, LinkedIn Live, how you doing? Yes, I've had enough of you. Thank you so much. That was good music. I like that. Anyway, hi, how you doing? Welcome to another edition of Employer Brand Breakdown, where we break down employer brands to see how they tick. We like looking at them from the outside. Wait, hold on. I said we as if there's anybody else here. Nope, it's just me. Sorry. I own a business. I say we a lot, unfortunately. I'm sorry. I'm here to break down employer brands from the outside. Why? Because that's how candidates see them. That's how your audience perceives them. We're not here to beat anybody up. We're not here to make anybody feel bad. We're here to look at what's working and what can be done better. How can you learn some really interesting ideas, perhaps some tricks, some hacks, some techniques, some tools, some ideas to make your work a little bit better. This is like our fourth or fifth one, and I am having an absolute blast doing these. I archive them all on YouTube. So if you watch this and you're like, I wish he'd do more brands, well, guess what I have? Go check out YouTube. Go to just do a search on Employer Brand Breakdown. They're owned by Google. They should be able to find that video pretty quickly. Also, if you've got an idea of a company I should also break down, let me know. I'm here on LinkedIn. You know where my LinkedIn profile is. So click on that and tell me, what is the next brand I should break down? I have an idea for the next one, but always open to ideas, whether it's your company or a competitor's. Okay, so today we're going to talk about a little company called Sprout Social, and that is proof that we're doing this live. I can't even say the name of the company I'm talking about. Here's what's going on. Sprout Social is a really well and highly regarded company in Chicago. They've been around for, I want to say, about 8, 9, 10 years, something like that. They are a social media management platform. It's the way you schedule a LinkedIn post or a tweet to go at 2:15 a.m. Because someone said it should. And it allows you to manage and see all the reactions and engage with stuff. It's all right there. It's it's not necessarily the very first wave of tools that did it, like a Hootsuite, I think, was the most famous one for doing that. They were kind of a second generation. They took a different approach. They took a very lean and mean, focused not on the bells and whistles, but on the stuff that matters kind of approach. And I think that idea carries through to their DNA. In fact, I've even changed the color background here to green to match their logo. Sprout Social is a Chicago company, so I know them really well. Not only do I know them really well, I've interviewed there years ago. Not only that, because it's Chicago and we all know each other apparently. A number of people I hired at my agency have since gone on to Sprout. So I know a lot of people over there. And if you're watching, you're not. But hey, how you doing? Weird, huh? I know. Okay, so let's talk about Sprout Social. Let's go ahead and share the screen and take a look at what we can see. Here we go. Okay, careers at Sprout. So we're going to start on the career site, and I'm going to give you a heads up. I've looked at their LinkedIn, and we're not going to dive in too much on LinkedIn. I think there's one or two ideas I want to look at, but for the most part, I want to focus on their career site, not on their jobs, but on their career site. Now let's do a quick kind of overview. First off, stronger connections start with social and with you. Okay, notice how they're starting to engage the idea of what their company is all about is what their employer brand is all about. They're really kind of embracing the idea of one brand. And it's not an employer brand over here and a consumer or corporate brand over there. It's one brand, and everybody's looking through that brand to their audience, the audience they care to talk to. It's a single brand, which means when the corporate work works, it helps the employer brand. And when the employer brand does stuff that works, it helps the corporate brand and vice versa, right? It all kind of interweaves. So I think they're doing a good job here, clearly and intentionally creating those connections between their corporate brand and their employer brand. Stronger connections start with social. That's their job. That's their business. And with you, employer brand. We're looking for highly driven, humble humans to help transform the ways companies and organizations use social. We're going to skip the open roles. Okay, so far, a clear aesthetic. And if you know anything about this company, that green, these kind of minty and kind of blue, gray greens, are really, they have a really nice green color scheme, which connects to that idea that they're sprouting, right? It's a Sprout Social. Let's go down. Now, here's where I'm going to say a lot of good things because there's so many good ideas for you to steal and take advantage of or look at or consider. But I'm going to start with what I think is something I'm a little concerned about. It's confusing. As you'll see, there is so many cultural pillars, so many values, so much who we are, so much what we are. There's so much stuff that it's not easy to form a clear picture. And as you'll see, they have 7 values. They have 4 culture pillars. They got all this stuff. They got a whole page on DEI, which is fantastic. But there's so much stuff, it might make it hard for someone to kind of say, what does it all mean? What's the clear line? What's the clear thread that runs through all of it that makes it crystal clear, where you get a Coke equals happiness, Volvo equals safety, right? What's the clear brand message? That said, let's dive in here. So first, they're committed to excellence. We're going to click on that link about defining culture shortly. Fearless in finding ways to improve, fierce in our commitment to growth, very positive, nice things to say. It's not every day that you hear a company declare that their best is always ahead of them, but that's Sprout. So there's this idea that they're always growing, they're always developing. Love that. Good stuff. I like the language they're using, right? If I were to think of a bank, or I were to think of a consumer packaged goods company where they're talking about growing, this language would not necessarily work. This is very sprouty, if I can use that term, right? It feels very much them, right? It doesn't feel like I could slap someone's logo here or take this language and stick it on someone else's website and it would work. This feels like them. And that is really hard to do. There is very much an art to that, of writing this kind of copy that makes it feel singular, like only we could write this thing. Obviously, that's not true. Anybody can write these things, but it feels very true to them. The more you think about corporate language, the more you think about, I want to be appealing to everyone, the more you start diluting the message and the more you start to sound like everyone else. What's great about what they're doing here is that I would imagine their style guide internally is just magnificent. This is a strong tone of voice. They know what they're about. They've got some nice visuals that support it. They've got good pillars to really kind of help it develop. This is good stuff, absolutely good stuff. So if you're looking for an example of great tone of voice, Sprout is definitely one of them. Okay, Cruise Ollie here. And here's one of those stupid language things that you're like, oh, that was a worthless idea. That means nothing, but is so nice. It makes me feel good. It's like turning the bed corners down on the bed. No one cares, but it makes an emotional connection on some level. Here we are, engineering code is craft. Okay, right there, I have a clearer picture of what their engineers are like and what they do. Relationship rock stars, roadmap warriors. Here's my favorite, the make it happen captains. First off, the rhyme. Come on, the rhyme. How wonderful is that? But also, we know when we're hiring, if we're a biotech, we're hiring scientists and some G&A people. If we're in a tech company, we're hiring some developers and some data scientists and some G&A folks, right? The hospitals are hiring nurses and doctors and some G&A people. They're always the last left behind. They're always in the background. They're always like, oh yeah, and some people who are going to do the paperwork or make the trains run on time, right? They have made it crystal clear, the make it happen captains, they're going to elevate those roles to not be second-class citizens. They are just as important as engineering, sales, product, right? Love that. I've seen places where they call those roles accelerators. That's good thinking. It's really easy to talk about how much you care about your developers in these high demand, high cost roles. How you describe your less in demand roles is just as important. Okay? Just love it. Just love it. Is that coming through? Loving it. All right. Where we work, where you work, very remote friendly company. That's Chicago. I know exactly where that is, but featured roles, meet the team of Sprout. It's fine. This is good. I mean, there's nothing wrong with this. It's hard to kind of tell a story one person at a time, but at the same time, if I was someone who sounded like this or was looking for a sales development role, I would feel like, wow, they know who I am and it's connecting. And the fact that I'm not, and it doesn't like that, doesn't like dissuade me. It's kind of a gamble to say, let's put the hook out there and see who bites. And if they do, that's great. And if not, we've got other hooks to kind of engage with. Awards and recognition. I'm not going to go too far out of that, other than to kind of circle the People one. When did People start giving awards? I don't know. Okay, moving on. The hype is real, so they're stealing language directly from Glassdoor. This is a great example of leveraging everybody's preconceived notion of Glassdoor as the place where everybody goes to vent and saying, look, somebody's saying positive stuff, and we're just going to grab it wholesale and stick it right here. The fact that it says Glassdoor, it doesn't feel like we asked these people to say these nice things. It feels more real. The reality, of course, is complicated, and we all know how to play the Glassdoor game, but it just, to someone on the outside, that's like, oh, wow, even their Glassdoor reviews are positive. And I might consider clicking and looking and searching on Glassdoor for more information, which is great if you've got a good score. Okay, let's get into the culture stuff. What we value. Now, this is, diversity is more than a buzzword. So what we value is diversity. And that to me is a bit of a disconnect. I would expect it to say what we value. And since I know that there's more that they value, why are they picking this? What is happening here? I'm not sure what's going on. Who we are, let's see, click here to define our culture. See work differently. Okay, all right. Okay, whatever. I'm not in love with it, but I'm not like thinking it's killing anybody or hurting anybody. High growth and performance fuel the work we do. They don't define our culture, but we're lucky to work with a team that's equal part talent, humility, determination, and kindness. Okay, that's a lot. I wish it could be just a bit more clear. It feels like it's trying to hit budget targets at the same time. The best is always in front of us, and we kind of saw a mention that early, but that's part of their culture. They're focused on what's important, support on every level. The language is good. What I'm concerned about here is if this is our culture, the best is always in front of us, focused on what's important, support at every level, freedom to be human. Look, maybe I'm just being pedantic here, but that's not really a culture. That's maybe a North Star to be sailing towards, a desired aspiration, who we want to be in our best days. But culture, and this is maybe where I kind of get a little weird about the word culture. Culture is our behavior. And this is especially true here because just below here, they list their values. Now, first off, whoever's doing the design work, killing it. Love your design work. I just think it's a great aesthetic and you're carrying it through very well. It's very clean. I love it. But there's 7 values. It's a lot. It's a lot of values. And so here are the values we care. We embrace accountability. We champion diversity. We celebrate change. Great things to care about. Show me how that results in everyday behaviors. That's what culture should be. And the culture it's not saying anything. It's almost like they're 4 extra values, or they sort of connect. Freedom to be human. Okay. Cool. Isn't that part of the diversity? Isn't that part of promote authentic, open communication? I don't know. Maybe caring deeply. Aren't they kind of the same? So to me, it feels like they're chopping this thing up in such a way that it's unboxing it, but it's confusing what message they're sending. And it gets back to that idea of they're saying so much, it's not clear what's the through line. What's the one big idea about this brand? When I think Sprout, what should I associate with it? What should I think? Oh, they're great at X or Y or Z or whatever that is, or people who work there are blank. They're super nice. They're super smart. They're super friendly. They're super helpful. They're super innovative. They're super thinking around the corner. They're really here to work 12,000 hours a day. They're really here because they know they can put their best work in 6 hours and go home because that's how the company is. I don't know. I'm just spitballing. What is the through line? And that's the one complaint I have here, is that it's not clear. I will say, if this is a page called See Work Differently and the URL says Sprout Life, it's got a bit of a junk drawer feel to it. You're just kind of throwing things in because you didn't know where to put them, or they were things that were not quite big enough to have their own page. And I just wish there was a better connection to them and see how they work. That said, their expression of them is really good. They're being super specific on a lot of these benefits. Generous paid time off. Everybody says that, but 16 weeks paternal leave for all new parents. I wish they said paid. I don't know if they do or don't, but that's the most important word. Remote friendly, a lot of flexibility. Inclusion is inclusion a benefit? Okay. Development. Okay. Do you have a budget for development? Oh, you got programs. Okay. That's something. Whatever. I'm not going to go through. But notice here that they're not just saying development. Here's 5 programs we have, or healthcare. Here's 17 programs we have. They're doing this thing with a paragraph to try and explain why they do this. The truth is, while putting more benefits out there tends to attract more candidates, it's not really what drives candidates. Very few candidates go, I chose to work here because they have the best health insurance. Some do, sure, and it certainly influences decisions when you've got it between two companies, but no one's here because I love the health insurance. But they're talking here about not only do we embrace a growth mindset, we also understand the key to unlocking your full potential. That's why we prioritize ongoing learning and development initiatives. The quibble I will have here, it's not even a quibble, it's an opportunity to do better. Instead of saying prioritize, which has become a kind of corporate buzzword, it's a way of saying that you care about something without actually caring about anything. Find a way to say you invest. Find a way that you're paying for. The thing that a company does that costs them money is a thing they actually care about. It's really easy to say you love donuts and you love the planet and you love the atmosphere and you believe that climate change is real and we should stop doing it. It's another thing to spend money to make those things happen, or more importantly, to stop those things from happening. Money matters. In a company, what a company spends its money on is what it actually cares about. So any opportunity to kind of connect that dot would be super helpful. Okay, then you go to DEI at Sprout, but that's got its own page. And it's a bit of a hard to kind of create that big picture. That said, there's really good content here. They're doing a good job. We celebrate diversity, a different kind of DEI. You're likely tired of reading the same corporate DEI statements over and over again. Yes, I am. I totally am. I absolutely am. Goodness, thank you for saying that most DEI statements feel like they're taken off the back of a napkin or cheating off of someone else's paper, right? They're trying to say something different. And that, to me, it's not so much that they're saying something different. The fact that they know everybody sounds the same and they're endeavoring to try and to say something better and more meaningful, that says it all, right? To me, it feels more like they mean what they say. This isn't a poster. This isn't a two-line thing they stole from another company, replaced two words to avoid any kind of filters or to any copyright claims. This is a company that seems to care about it, really care about it. Because when you care about it, you know there's no obvious answer. There's no fix to DEI. There's no one-stop shopping for, hey, we got our DEI solved. Next, it doesn't work that way. As Torrin Ellis would say, who I am not related to, but he is my brother, there is no question, DEI done well is about love and process. Process means you're always getting better, and that is what this suggests. Great content, who does it? It's not so much about just the Black folks are talking about Black DEI functions. It's like everybody's involved in this. Everybody is part of every ERG. Everybody's engaged with this. There's a picture of this person who used to work for me. Hey, it's good content. And then they go and throw the data at you. I mean, come on. There's great stuff. So last point I want to make. Let's go over to their LinkedIn. If I did this right, I think I did. I did. Over on their LinkedIn. Okay. Audrey isn't watching the breakdown, even though she normally does. She just pinged me. This is a little more meta than I'm prepared to manage. All right, so let's go to their content. Here is a situation where, first off, driving business impact should be easier. I love that the first time I read that, I assumed it was an employer brand message. And the second time I read it, I went, wait, no, it's not. I love it. They're doing a great job. One brand, man. Loving that. This is a company, because LinkedIn is a social media platform and Sprout manages social media accounts. This is a case where I know that there was a conversation somewhere, I'm sure, where they said, hey, can we post a lot of employer brand content on LinkedIn? Because that's where job seekers are. Somebody in marketing said, I'd love to let you, but that's where our customers come from first. So they are not producing a lot of employer brand content. And normally you'd say, oh, that's the worst. No, it's not. It's not. Where they are, the strategy, it seems, what I'm seeing anyway, and again, I'm from the outside, I don't have any insider knowledge here, is that when they talk about employer branding, they do not have a social media calendar for employer branding. What they're doing, and I might have to scroll down to find one, is they're looking for when staff say something interesting. Here we go. Patrick Rowe is talking about pumped. Our first cohort of SDA interns started this week. We're through a partnership with Hire Military, our Veterans Community Resource Group. We're welcoming a new set of interns who completion will have the opportunity to become full-time employees. This is an employer brand message that Sprout did not write. All it did was repost it. So their strategy is not to write employer brand content, but to advocate for employees who are writing that. So I'm going to guess there's someone on the TA team or the marketing team who is looking around and engaging staff to say, hey, you did this thing, this program for internships with military was great. You should post about it on your channel, tag it, Team Sprout, and we will share it on a larger channel. That is a completely valid strategy. And it doesn't seem to take away from the larger kind of algorithmic shifts inside of LinkedIn. You want to maximize your consumer facing posts because that's where the bread gets buttered, right? But you still need to make room because without staff, you can't butter the bread, right? Wow, that metaphor just got stretched fast. Okay. So, and I saw that a couple of different times. I may not see another one. Here we go. Nope, that's not it. Yep, I might not be able to find it. Yeah. Okay. So, here we go. Mid-year meetup. This is when the team met up together again from Ruth Gonzalez, and Sprout just reshared it. Completely valid strategy. In fact, there's probably a lot of pros to it. If I thought more deeply about it, why is that working and how can they maximize it? But it's a completely valid strategy. And since I know a lot of you fight with your consumer marketing brothers and sisters about space on LinkedIn, this is an approach. Consider that. All right. That's what I got. I'm going to stop sharing just a second. There we go. Stop sharing. So, hey, thanks so much for being here. As always, if you've got an idea for a company you want me to consider doing a breakdown of, let me know. I'm on LinkedIn, obviously. This will be up on YouTube. If you missed any of it, it'll be up on YouTube in about an hour or two, I guess, with the rest of the employer brand breakdowns. Thanks so much for listening. Thanks so much for watching. Do me a favor. Tell somebody about this. Share this content. I love doing it. I want to make sure more and more people are seeing great employer brand work and hearing from a pro's perspective why it works, right? It's easy for me to say, I'm going to write a book, or I'm going to talk about these abstract ideas. Let's look at some great work being done in the real world right now. And today, Sprout Social doing a great job. All right. Thanks everybody for watching. I'll see you next time.